All the paintings you see here were produced by unseen spirit hands before many witnesses. No person on this side of life was involved in creating the paintings. They appeared on the canvases as people watched them happen all by themselves. The action is called precipitated art. This video contains examples of people living in the life after this life communicating by creating portraits and drawings. Their artwork is more evidence the people living in the life after this life are alive, well, and able to communicate with people on this side of life. It proves the simple truth: you will never die. Precipitated art is color pictures painted on a canvas with no human hands touching the canvas. The work is done by specialists, including artists, in spirit, when they have a medium present who has the ability to allow energy to be used to create the portraits. For most spirit paintings, a new, clean canvas or paper is stretched over a 24-inch by 36-inch or a 24-inch by 30-inch wood frame. Pots of paint with all the colors of the spectrum are placed nearby. No brushes are used or are in the room or area around where the seance is taking place. Often, the person coming to receive a portrait of their loved one brings their own canvas. The mediums may hold the canvas on either side, but have no control over what happens. The images of the person in spirit appear on the canvas over a period of 15 or 20 minutes. In most instances, no similar photo likeness was ever taken of the person in spirit, precluding the possibility of pre-painting and switching the canvas. Also, color photography had not been invented when these examples were painted, but the colors, including eye and hair colors, are accurate. Art experts have examined the portraits and cannot explain the medium used. It is not paint, ink, pastel, or any known substance. It looks as though it has been applied with a modern airbrush and has the consistency of the powder on a butterfly's wings. The most prominent artists were the Bangs sisters and the Campbell brothers. Following is an example of the Bangs sisters' precipitated art. In August 1911, a large audience filled to capacity the auditorium at Chesterfield Spiritualist Camp in Indiana. A large, plain canvas was placed on an easel in the center of the stage. A committee set up to oversee the event examined the canvas to be sure there were no markings, paint, or chemical treatments. The Bangs sisters sat on either side of the easel, 4 or 5 feet from it. They never touched the canvas throughout the entire demonstration. Tickets had been given out to the audience before the event started to select an audience member at random to have a precipitated portrait of a loved one in spirit. A ticket was drawn for an Alice Alford. Mrs. Alford and her husband took seats on the stage. The Alfords said they would like a precipitated picture of their daughter Audrey, now in spirit. The Bangs sisters slowly bowed their heads and closed their eyes as if in prayer and deep concentration for 5 minutes. Then a thin, vapor-like cloud or shadow swept across the canvas, pulsating and then flickering out. After a few more moments, shades of color began to appear in successive layers of fine dust to form a cloudy background that seemed to pulsate and flicker and then quickly disappear. The background slowly and steadily precipitated into view. 3 pairs of eyes appeared on different parts of the canvas, 2 of which were open and 1 pair in the center of the canvas was closed. The 2 open pairs disappeared, and the closed eyes remained, then disappeared. With each successive phase of the unfolding phenomena, the background became clearer and clearer. Then a faint outline of a face and bust slowly precipitated into view, disappearing and reappearing several times before remaining in focus on the canvas. It was the likeness of a girl 14 to 15 years old. Her eyes were closed. When the portrait was completely precipitated onto the canvas, the girl's eyes suddenly opened and the audience applauded. Mr. Alford said the portrait was an exact likeness of their deceased daughter, Audrey. Mrs. Alford wore around her neck, hidden from sight, a locket containing a photograph of her daughter. The portrait was a duplicate in likeness of their daughter, but different in poise and position. The mediums had not seen the locket picture or any photo of the child and had never met the Alfords before the session. The finished spirit portrait was precipitated onto the canvas in 22 minutes. In another example, Dr. Doherty, a physician in Richmond, Indiana in the early 1920s, sat with Lizzie Bangs for a portrait of his deceased wife. His wife's image precipitated onto the canvas. He then asked the spirit operators why his twin children, Mary and Christina, who were also deceased, were not in the picture. The twins appeared on the canvas in front of their mother. Dr. Doherty himself then appeared on the canvas, standing behind them all, making a family portrait. There are also many precipitated paintings from the Campbell brothers' medium activity, such as these of Napoleon Bonaparte and Abraham Lincoln. There are now 22 such portraits at the Chesterfield camp, and thousands still in the hands of the families who received them. Another proof the people alive in the life after this life can convey images to mediums on this side of life is spirit portrait drawing. Spirit portrait artists draw likenesses of people in spirit when contacted by a family member for a reading. Coral Polge, a very talented spirit portrait artist, explained the process she goes through when drawing the portrait of a person in spirit. I literally feel as though I am the person I'm drawing. Size, temperament, all of it becomes part of me. And I try to put down what I feel rather than anything I actually see. Sometimes I don't even know if I'm drawing a lady or a gentleman until I've got it on the paper. These are examples of Coral Polge's drawings. These are drawings by another portrait artist named Coral Ryder. These are examples of Rita Berkowitz's spirit portraits. And these are examples of spirit drawing by Joseph Scheel. These precipitated paintings and spirit drawings that loved ones on this side of life agree are their loved ones in spirit are another of the many validated proofs that there is no death and there are no dead. You will never die.